Whispered tales and flickering candlelight beckon you to a very Tudor holiday, where the mists of Europe unveil forgotten revels. Beneath star-strewn skies and within ancient halls, we wander through the enchanted tapestry of Tudor holidays. From the ethereal glow of Christmas, where spirits dance in royal courts, to the shrouded rites of All Hallows Eve, steeped in mystery, we weave spells of old-world wonder. Join us as we unravel the dreams, secrets, and star-crossed joys of a time when every celebration held magic in its heart. In the tender dawn of November 2, 1497, London stirs beneath a crisp autumn sky, its streets and spires alive with the solemn pulse of All Souls' Day. 12 years after King Henry VII's triumph at Bosworth Field, the city is a vibrant hub of trade and faith. It hums with cautious vitality, its people navigating the shadow of plague and the fresh sting of rebellion. At Westminster, or the Palace of Placentia in Greenwich, the royal court passes with guarded confidence. Buoyed by the recent capture of Perkin Warbeck, the pretender who dared claim the throne, yet tempered by the unrest he stirred, negotiations for Prince Arthur's betrothal to Infanta Catherine of Spain inch forward, a promise of diplomatic strength. All Souls' Day, dedicated to praying for the souls in purgatory, is a sacred call to seek divine mercy and affirm the Tudor realm's fragile unity. For London's women, noble women in the grandeur of courtly halls, townswomen in the lively wards of Cheapside or Southwark, and peasant women on the city's rural fringes. All Souls' Day is a rich tapestry of devotion, charity, and community. Their preparations, from baking soul cakes to lighting candles, and their participation in masses, almsgiving, and communal rituals reflect their distinct roles in a stratified society, yet unite them in the shared beliefs in the communion of saints and the power of prayer. In London's blend of urban energy and rural echoes, women shape the celebration that weaves Catholic piety with local traditions, illuminating their spiritual, domestic, and social contributions to a day of remembrance and hope. All Souls' Day, a cornerstone of the pre-Reformation Catholic calendar, is a time to offer masses, prayers, and alms to hasten souls released from purgatory. In 1497 London, the feast carries a profound weight, uniting the city's prayers for the departed amidst a backdrop of hard-won stability and lingering threats. Churches glow with candlelight and echo with the tolling of bells, its priests chant for souls in need. Economically, the day follows the harvest season, with Cheapside markets brimming with apples, nuts, and salted fish as households stock winter provisions. Socially, the custom of souling fosters bonds between rich and poor. Folk traditions, some with pre-Christian roots, add a mystical hue. Candles lit to guide souls, tales of spirits in the November mist, and divinations for love or fate, particularly among young women. In London, a nexus of trade, faith, and royal power, these rituals blend with Catholic devotion, shaped by women's hands across class divides. For noble women such as Queen Elizabeth of York or Margaret Beaufort, Henry VII's devout mother, All Souls' Day is a solemn yet vital occasion to demonstrate piety, charity, and loyalty to the Tudor crown. In 1497, with the court shaken by Warbeck's rebellion but steadied by his capture, these women used the feast to intercede for souls and reinforce their family's spiritual and political authority in a realm still knitting itself back together. In the weeks before November 2, noble women orchestrate preparations that blend devotion with courtly splendor. Queen Elizabeth commissions the masses in the royal chapel at Westminster for her Yorkist family, her father, Edward IV, and her brothers, the princes in the Tower, whose fate remains a silent wound. Her prayers honor the past, while binding it to Tudor unity. Margaret Beaufort, a patron of charities, endows masses at St. Paul's or her favored foundations, praying for her Lancastrian dead and her son's embattled reign. Their charity is generous, with baskets of bread, ale, or coins prepared for London's poor, who gather at palace gates or churchyards, their almsgiving a public display of Tudor strength in a city recovering from unrest. Under their supervision, court kitchens hum, baking soul cakes, small spiced buns marked with a cross, enriched with costly saffron, currants, or cinnamon in noble households. These cakes, shared with souling children or beggars, symbolize prayers for the dead, each a plea for divine mercy. For the court's feast, noblewomen oversee dishes reflecting the season's bounty. Roasted venison, capon, or swan, paired with apple tarts, custards, and spiced wine, a nod to the court's resilience. Halls gleam with candles, their flames dancing on tapestries of the Last Judgment, or St. Michael with sprigs of rosemary or yew, symbols of remembrance adorning altars. They ensure winter provisions are secure, managing stores of grains, salted meats, and dried fruits, a critical task in late autumn. Some noblewomen indulge in private rituals, blending Catholic piety with folk customs. Young ladies attending Elizabeth's daughters, like Princess Margaret, 8, or Princess Mary, barely a year, might perform light-hearted divinations, peeling an apple into one strip to reveal a suitor's initial, or gazing into a mirror by candlelight, glimpse a future husband's face. These practices, tolerated in elite circles, add a spark of mystery to the day, their secrecy a playful respite from courtly duties. On All Saints' Day, noblewomen attend requiem masses, often in the Royal Chapel or St. Paul's, where priests intone prayers amid flickering candles and clouds of incense. In 1497, prayers carry the weight of a recent rebellion, seeking peace for a kingdom and strength for Prince Arthur, the heir whose betrothal to Catherine promises alliance with Spain. Clad in rich velvet or damask, adorned with jeweled crosses, noblewomen kneel, their rosaries clicking, their devotion a public testament to faith and loyalty. After masses, they host feasts that balance solemnity with court grace. Courtiers, clergy, and gentry dine on soul cakes, roasted chestnuts, and mulled ale, discussing the saint's intercession or the court's triumph over Warbeck. Noblewomen ensure every guest is served with care, their hospitality reinforcing Tudor unity in a time of fragile peace. Some sponsor bell ringing across London's churches, a tradition believed to comfort souls in purgatory, or distribute alms to souling beggars, their generosity a mark of Catholic virtue. In private, they gather for devotions, reciting the office of the dead in candlelit chambers. Their voices soft, yet fervent. Some share tales of London's haunted corners, the ghostly monks of St. Paul's churchyard, blending with folklore, fostering intimacy among ladies-in-waiting in a court wary but hopeful. For noblewomen, All Souls' Day 1497 is a spiritual and political act. The act of praying for souls a sacred duty that affirms their faith and Tudor legitimacy. Their masses, alms, and soul cakes are offerings of devotion, securing salvation for kin, and aligning with the crown's authority. Socially, the feast strengthens courtly alliances. Their charity, a public gesture in a city healing from rebellion. Economically, their oversight of provision underscores their managerial roots. The discreet folk divinations connect them to cultural traditions, offering a private spark of hope amidst public duties. Their prayers a bridge between heaven and a Tudor earth striving for peace. For women in London's wards, All Souls' Day 1497 was a vibrant weave of devotion, charity, and communal engagement. These townswomen shaped the feast through their contributions to parish life, markets, and neighborhoods, navigating a city pulsing with trade and faith, yet shadowed by the recent unrest of Perkin Warbeck's rebellion and the ever-present threat of plague. Townswomen prepared by readying homes and parishes for the solemn day. They visited churches, lighting beeswax candles for departed family or saints, like Saint Anne, often pooling meager earnings for their offering. Many joined guild efforts, donating linens for altars or oil for lamps, acts that earned spiritual merit and civic respect. Widows, running alehouses or cloth stalls, common in London's bustling markets, might have provided bread or ale or parish feasts, reinforcing their standing in a city recovering from rebellion's tremors. At home, they baked soul cakes, kneading dough with ginger or honey, a task shared with daughters or apprentices. filling homes with warm, spicy scents. They prepared modest dishes, mutton pottage, baked apples, or fish pies from the Thames cod, reflecting their means. Homes were cleaned, tiled floors swept, and yew sprigs or candles placed in windows to guide souls, a practice blending Catholic faith with ancient folklore. Markets along Cheapside saw them buying nuts, apples, or cheap saints' figurines, while those in trade sold festive goods, spiced ale, prayer beads, to meet the demand of a city eager to honor the dead. Folk customs thrived, especially among younger women who might drop egg whites into water, reading shapes as omens of marriage, or burn hazelnuts to predict love's endurance. These devotions, shared in courtyards over market stalls, added a spark of hope, though kept discreet to avoid priest disapproval, their mothers ensuring propriety in a time wary of unrest. On All Souls' Day, townswomen crowded into parish churches for requiem masses, their shawls brushing against the stone walls. The service, with its somber chants and sermons on purgatory, inspired prayers for family or guild members, especially poignant in 1497 after the recent plague outbreaks and the shadow of Warbeck's failed rebellion. After, they gathered for simple suppers, sharing soul cakes, spiced ale with roasted apples, and nuts, their neighbors joining to swap dishes in lively tenements. Parishes organized processions with women carrying lanterns to churchyards, their light a symbol of hope for souls. Guilds hosted communal meals where women served pottages or pastries, their labor fostering camaraderie. Children, guided by their mothers, went souling, knocked for cakes and promising prayers, their souls a cheerful hum in foggy streets. Some women visited graves, placing rosemary or marigolds, their prayers a quiet act of remembrance. In the evening, they gathered for storytelling, recounting St. Catherine's martyrdom or tales of London's ghosts, like the spectral night of Ludgate, their voices softening the day's gravity. Young women shared charms, tying a ribbon for St. Lucy's blessing, their giggles a spark of joy in a cautious city. For townswomen, All Souls' Day, 1497, was a spiritual refuge, their prayers for souls a shield against loss in a city scarred by plague and rebellion. Their candles, cakes, and processions were acts of faith in salvation, aligning with their role as spiritual caretakers. For widows, the day was a chance to assert independence, their contribution to guilds or charity a mark of resilience in a city striving for peace. For peasant women, wives, mothers, or daughters of laborers or tenant farmers, on London's rural edges, All Souls' Day 1497 was a sacred pause in the lives of toil, their devotion rooted in faith and survival. These women shaped the feast with humble offerings, their hands sustaining community and spirit in a world shadowed by plague and recent unrest of Perkin Warbeck's rebellion. Peasant women spent autumn gleaning apples or threshing barley, their labor feeding families through winter. As All Souls' Day neared, they baked soul cakes with coarse flour, often plain but marked with crosses, their hearths smoky with effort. Some made dumb cakes in silence, a ritual for souls in purgatory, blending Catholic and other traditions. They gathered rosemary or elder branches, tying them into crosses for doorways, a charm against the evil spirits. Candles, often tallow dips crafted from saved fat, were a precious offering, their dim glow a prayer in a city wary of rebellion's aftershocks. They prepared simple meals, barley pottage, roasted turnips, or gleaned apples, stretching meager harvests. Homes were cleaned, earthen floors swept, and small altars adorned with yew or a saint's medal, often St. Christopher, for protection. Young women engaged in folk customs, tying a thread to a cabbage stalk to divine a suitor's build, or burning a straw to predict love, their hope a quiet rebellion against hardship. These rituals, shared at wells or barns, brought joy, their secrecy a shield from priest scrutiny in a time of cautious faith. On All Souls' Day, peasant women trudged to parish churches, their clogs muddy from the fields, Requiem masses with their Latin chants and candlelight offered solace, their prayers for St. Cuthbert or St. Agnes, seeking aid against hunger or cold. In 1497, they might have prayed for peace after Warbeck's capture, fearing its impact on crops or levies. After they shared modest feasts, pooling soul cakes, pottage, or weathered ale with neighbors, their hearths a warm circle in a village, tense but hopeful. Villages lit small bonfires, accustomed to comfort souls, with women tending to flames and singing hymns, their voices mingling with the crackle. Children, clutching their mothers' hands, went souling at wealthier homes, their songs earning cakes or crusts. Women joined circle dances, their steps a prayer against darkness, or told tales of saints or local ghosts, like the spectral lady of Moorfields. Young women shared charms, like dropping apple seeds into embers for love omens, their laughter a spark at night. Before sleep, candles burned in windows, their prayers for souls a flickering hope. For peasant women, All Saints' Day 1497 was a spiritual lifeline, their prayers for souls a promise of salvation against winter's threats, famine, illness, or spirits. Their cakes, candles, and crosses were acts of faith, tying them to redemption's hope. Economically, the feast marked the harvest's end, their ingenuity stretching resources for survival. Shared feasts and fires built the village solidarity, their mutual aid a lifeline in a world unsettled by rebellion. The folk customs, rosemary crosses, love charms, wove their toil with hope, their endurance a quiet rhythm of a harsh world. Across all classes, All Souls' Day 1497 was a unifying feast. The act of praying for souls, a shared hope in a city scarred by loss and the recent tremors of Perkin Warbeck's rebellion. Women's candles, soul cakes, and alms were a collective prayer, their charity and rituals binding London's diverse souls. The folk traditions, divinations, bonfires, yew sprigs, linked them to England's agrarian roots. Their stories a bridge between urban and rural worlds. In noble halls, urban wars, and rural fields, women's hands shaped the day of remembrance and redemption. London's cosmopolitan pulse shaped the feast. At court, noble women's grandeur reflected Tudor's ambitions, their masses and almsgiving a bulwark of fragile stability after Warbeck's capture. Townswomen's markets and parishes buzzed with trade and faith, their soul cakes and lanterns a heartbeat of community. Peasant women's bonfires and dumb cakes echoed rural traditions, their simplicity a contrast to the city's bustle. Yet the core remained, a day of light against darkness, prayer against loss, and community against solitude, with women's devotions at its heart. In 1497, All Souls' Day London was a luminous tapestry of faith, charity, and remembrance woven by women across the city's spectrum. Noble women crafted devotion and courtly grace, their prayers and alms a pillar of Tudor resilience. Townswomen wove civic bonds, their soul cakes and lanterns a pulse of solidarity in a city healing from unrest. Peasant women linked candles of hope, their endurance a quiet hymn in a world of hardship. Together their preparations, baking, praying, giving, honored the souls in purgatory, uniting London's voices in a solemn chorus. In a Tudor city poised between triumph and tension, All Souls' Day was a moment to seek divine mercy, bridge heaven and earth, and defy the dark, with women's prayers guiding the way. If your heart still roams in the misty moors, singing with saints and stars on All Souls' Day, come join our raucous revelry. Send your spirited tales to longlivethequeenpodcast@gmail.com, or proclaim your ghostly yarns at Long Live the Queen Podcast on Instagram or Facebook. Let's light up the night with your stories. Hungry for more chills, more secrets, more candlelit wonders? The Royal Court flings wide its doors on Patreon. Seek the link in the show description, sparkling like a lantern in the fog. Come, make merry with us, till we gather again, dear companions. May your soul cakes be toasty and sweet, your dreams aglow with enchantment, and your dearly departed cheered by your remembrance. Good night, and may heaven's light guide your path.